starts recording, and then if I start talking right away, we get these VODs where it starts off, I'm like midway through a third sentence or something. All right, should be good to
Quick
go
question,
now.
Beth.
Yeah.
Just if I might, because I have to be leaving like now, actually more
Yeah,
like
yeah.
10
If you have
minutes
an
ago.
announcement or anything, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to touch on Guild Wars 2 night. Are we live?
Yes.
Excellent. Starting things off a bit weird with me being the first one to talk, but Guild Wars 2 night this weekend, usual time. Last week we actually had a pretty decent turnout. We were able to get several of the fractals done despite not having some of our more regular players. I know Foos and Vest couldn't attend, but we still had 4 for fractals, which is great. We are looking to gear up towards raids. Those of you Guild Wars 2 players probably saw that I posted that in the chat. Please, let's keep the discussion going. I really want to get us started on raids because everyone needs that. That's a great way to gear your characters with Ascendeds. That being, the highest stat rarity in the game. And then as well, that's also the only way for you to actually acquire legendary armor, which is not only, skinned, but it also is completely and totally stat swappable. So if you want to change builds, great. You can change your build like that. So this week, likely going to be running fractals again. Be ready for that. I also want to make sure, I want to hear, everyone's classes that they are capable of playing or are willing to play. And then in addition to those two things, I also want to, what's it called? I really would like to see some recruitment going up for Guild Wars 2. I know I've been slacking on this, saying that I'd be doing it for the past little while, but I need to actually get some recruitment posts up on some forums and such. That way we can actually start dragging people in and, getting them into the clan. Um, and yeah, I'm really proud to see the consistent effort. Part of me was really concerned that this was going to be, kind of a, oh, let's get Guild Wars 2 back going again, and then it was, just going to be like 2 nights and then we all fucked off and died. But things have been going pretty well for the clan, so nice work, guys. Keep up the excellent work, and yeah, we'll see how far we can take things.
All right. Yeah. Well, I will personally. I just messaged in Guild Wars 2 chat. I will be late for Guild Wars 2 night this week. I'll endeavor to be something like 45 minutes late if I'm lucky, but we'll see. But I will be there at some point during the night at least. But yeah, all right. Well, on to the traditional announcements. Once again, all quiet on the Western Front, I think. Not too much going on. I am still working on big update to the clan, as I've kind of talked about a bit, involving handbook update, some website and forum stuff, new stuff going up, stuff like that. Um, I've been fiddling a lot with the laws page on the WA website, which is pretty well finalized, I think. I'm not going to check mark say, all right, we are official on any of that yet, but working on a lot of more detailed, new kind of rules there, which are all going to be in there and in the new draft of the handbook. I appreciate a couple people have messaged me with either ideas or even corrections on the current handbook, which I'm working on course of the draft I have on my computer, making those updates, making sure those errors are not in the latest version. I know the one we've got there is getting a bit outdated. The one I have on my computer is definitely up to date, just waiting to working on finishing a few more updates before that comes out. But yes, one of the big ones is the rule changes. Just basically, some of it is stuff that's already there that I've reworded. Some of it is brand new stuff. A lot of it is just trying to provide a way more detailed explanations for all the rules and everything. Hopefully, so that yeah, it's just a better set of rules. And that's on the website under laws. If anyone wants to peek in there, like I said, I am not calling that official just yet, but probably pretty close to what the final will look like. I am also, I believe, in the monolith. I mentioned this before, but there's a few threads. All the pinned threads, the monolith, pretty much are all things. I'd love it if people read those. when they get a chance. All those should be basically already in their final versions as far as listing things, warband expectations, warband duties, as well as a list of everyone's duties that they have right now. I did think I feel it would be cool to give just some brief insight into some of the organizational changes that are going to be taking place. It isn't anything ridiculous, but it is some new stuff. I've talked to some people about it already, but and this is stuff that once I have the whole final document, I'm gonna throw it out in the all thing for additions, anything I can correct, stuff like that. But to give some insight into the changes that I am currently looking at, it is basically everyone in WA is going to be in a warband, which is actually something we brought up a few months ago. But the idea is that everyone will be in a warband. Um, and the official leader of a warband will actually be Herseer. But anyone Berserker and above can serve as an acting Herseer if necessary. So that is sort of just their warbands will still have one leader, everything like that. Um, and then the plan is for there to be basically the Herseers to take turns serving as Jarl for 2 month stints and basically rotating through that way, so that we're not throwing all the work at one person, make people tired out, given and also giving the chance for more, I think, leadership experience in that regard. And in going with that, I think I'm really trying to typify a lot of the stuff, like I said, all the warband duties, right, and all the stuff that has to be taken care of in your role as an officer in WA, so that it isn't a lot of just like, well, I'm a Jarl, I'm in charge of everything, so I don't even know, I'm just trying to help out wherever I can. This way, hopefully, everything that has to get done is listed, and it'll be easy to just like check stuff off, assign it to people, that kind of stuff. And as well, it's going to start being where the roll call period is going to shift to monthly rather than twice every 2 weeks. And at the end of each period, each warband leader, or they can as with all warband duties, they can always assign it to anyone berserker or above. They can delegate whatever duties they want, and if it, but they will have to write a warband report at the end of each monthly period. So sort of like a sit rep for the warband. And then the idea is the Jarl will then take all those, just read them, and then make a Great Company wide report where a lot of it is just going to be copy pasting recruit information, stuff like that, from the Warband report, and then adding just some info on goals, their thoughts on the progress of the Great Company, that kind of thing. So I think it will make sit reps easier. Sit reps will become just once a month things. I think same thing with these warband reports and roll calls, and as well. What was I going to say? Oh yes. So the idea is that to sort of explain how all the ranks will work. Like I kind of mentioned earlier in a previous fireside chat, no new ranks, no ranks removed, but functions changing a bit. Whereas I think before Thanes are sort of in a weird limbo period. If you're a Thane leading a warband, it's like, oh, okay, I know what I'm doing. Otherwise, it's kind of like. The idea here is that in a fully staffed warband, as always, members might have acting ranks or have other duties. If their warband is small, they don't have enough officers for it, which will be the case in most warbands. Um, but assuming you have a fully staffed warband, you have members at every rank, officers in every rank, because as I said, everyone in W will be in a warband. So you'll have everyone up till Herseer will be in a warband. Herseer will be the leader, and then Herseer's taking turns being Jarl. So while you're serving as Jarl, you're still technically in your home warband, and it will be up to whoever's turn it is as Jarl to decide. Well, do I want to leave my warband at the same time? If you want to, totally, you can do that. It's just you'll just have the added thing of once a month you'll have to write a sit rep for the Great Company in addition to your warband report, and you'll have to double check the promotions while you're writing that as well because border review will still be conducted. It'll be once a month at the end of the roll call period, just like it's going now, just less frequently. It fits in really nicely with the rank requirements where you have to hold a certain rank for a month and then you're up eligible for the next one. Perfect, because now we have the and I'm just going to call them warband reviews, not boards of review. Slight terminology change there. Once a month, and then the warband leaders, or they can also delegate that to somebody else in the warband. We'll review everyone in the warband, recommend any promotions or demotions, and then that all has to get approved by the Jarl. So as it is, just as it is now, it's a similar deal where kind of up to the Jarl if they want to do that in a Discord channel or a group DM on Discord or maybe a Google Doc, anything like that. Basically, the Warbands will finalize those promotions, demotions, their recommendations. Jarl will sign off on them, or maybe say, "Oh, not this one" or whatever. And then the Warband report's going to be written, which has all those promotions and demotions. And then the sit rep is written by the Jarl, covering the great company as a whole. And all that happening just on that monthly basis will be kind of the period we're looking at for roll calls, promotions, demotions, reports, everything. And I'm also going to be renaming situation reports just great company reports and warband reports, and then the process of promotions and demotions will be a warband review. In that, the Jarl is also tasked with, prior to writing their sit rep, not only signing off promotions and demotions, but if there are any promotions or demotions that they need to do, which would just be for warband leaders, like say if they need to promote a Thane who's currently in charge of a warband. Obviously, the Thane can't promote themselves, so the Jarl would have to be the one to promote them to say heresy or something like that. But that is the gist of it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I am missing, but I think that gives some pretty solid insight into the changes we're looking at. Um, let's see. I think I mentioned earlier that we are going to have where war bands can either be under a great company, and they'll be. I'm probably going to go with a 4 warband max in a great company, so we won't need to reorganize any current warbands or anything like that. And then warbands can also be directly under my supervision. And usually those warbands will be brand new ones, small ones, ones that are slowing down, not doing very well, that kind of deal. So which should make it easier on Jarls as well because they don't have to worry about haranguing a dying warband for reports and whatnot. If stuff isn't happening, then that warband just gets moved over to my jurisdiction. Jarl should only have to worry about the larger warbands that are usually more capable of taking care of themselves. And as I said before, we have a list of warband duties and everything, so it should be easy for a warband leader to delegate anything they need. Oh, I think I got a bit sidetracked. I was going to go over some of the ranks as well as Hersir's leading. The idea is that Berserkers are capable of leading warbands, but are not the typical warband leaders. The main time you'd see Berserkers leading a warband would be new warbands that are put directly under me. They apply for a new warband. They go under me. Small warbands, maybe say a raider applies for one or something like that. Maybe they become a berserker. They're acting leader of their warband. That kind of situation. In a larger, more successful, fully staffed warband, berserkers are sort of aspiring leaders, kind of backups to the rest of the officers, that kind of deal. Huskarls are going to be the standard warband helpers, meaning that duties will be delegated to them, like, hey, Huskarl A, you're in charge of the roster, Huskarl B, you're in charge of check and roll call, that kind of deal. And then Thanes basically can function exactly the same as a Huskarl, but Thanes will have the purpose of they can Thanes will have access to every single warband chat, and Thanes will have the added responsibility of serving as sort of helping out any other warbands that need it. So, say a warband that suddenly is low on officers or something like that, a Thane from a different warband can come in and help them out with whatever duties they need. The idea is that Thane can serve as Huskarls for any warband. They're still in their home warband. They're just helping out where they're needed, basically. And it isn't going to be the responsibility of the Thane to seek out ways to help. If the Thane has, if there's nobody that needs any help, the Thane's just going to help their current warband as if they were a Huskarl. If people do need help, it's responsibility of any warband leader that needs help completing stuff to talk to me, talk to the Jarls, post in the all thing, use those avenues to let people know they need help so that we can find a Thane, hook them up, get this particular Thane to go and help out with these particular duties as necessary. And with that as well, I did update the way incident discussion should work as well, incident reporting and everything like that. The plan is for I will serve as the incident tracker, and how that works is basically the incidents that are tracked that I track will be ones that I hear about, so ones that are elevated to me. So basically, it kind of other than that, the idea is that if you have an issue in WA, you talk to your direct superior officer of your own warband, and then it's their job to go and take that to the right people. So I think before it was sort of implied that you had to talk to, like, if somebody was bothering you, you had to talk to their officer, or yeah, their superior officer. I don't want to place any kind of responsibility on that. If somebody is getting harassed or whatever, or bullied, or having a problem in the clan, shouldn't be their job to try to go figure that stuff out. They should just go to the direct superior officer who are the people in their warband that should be helping them out with everything. They go mention it to that person. That officer then will go and talk to the officer of the offending member and get it sorted out. And the idea is if there's a problem, either A, let's say the officer of this bully says, no, he didn't do anything wrong. Okay, well, then you have a disagreement, so you got to elevate it up. And if it's still creating problems, it might go all the way up to the Jarls or up to me, in which case it is going to get written down in that case by myself tracking incidents. Um, Alternatively, an officer may elevate an incident because they're not sure what to do, which is totally fine. That would be the other case. So they may talk to the girl, say, "Hey, this happened. I'm not sure what's supposed to do." But all that stuff is going to be in the new handbook version, talking about exactly how that works. And yeah, and then yeah. Oh, and I believe, and I'll have to double check this that I wrote, but I believe each warband is going to be tracking incidents for their own warband. So I have to double check. Like I've been saying, this is sort of um, not official yet. I'm still fiddling with some stuff like that, so I'll have to double check where we're at. If it's just me tracking incidents that go up to me, or if warbands are still individually tracking them. I'll double check if that's something I had written down or not. But yeah, I think, if I'm not mistaken, that is basically all the changes I had in mind to provide something of a spoiler. And I know that's a lot, but it'll all be in the handbook and everything there. And hopefully, a lot of this, I'm really trying to just make things very clear cut and explained, and so nothing's up in the air, and everybody knows what they need to do, so that they can just spend 5 or 10 minutes checking off whatever updates they need to do, and then get back to playing video games like we kind of should be doing as a clan for the most part. So that is my goal with a lot of this stuff. And yeah, I think that's about it as far as other updates throughout the clan. I don't have a lot. Uh, Basically, I don't think we've had too much other stuff that we're working on. I know I usually give a glimpse into what the Scribes Guild's been doing or any kind of documentation stuff. There are some more Mark updates on the way. Shout out to Solite, who has been both working, looking at an external program to make it much easier to update Mark boards, which seems to work great as far as we've found. And he went to the trouble of putting together a bunch of them for all the Cavassiers guys, and hopefully this is something we can spread, we can use in the future. So thanks, Solite. It's a huge help, and I am working on some of the ones he sent me that just need names added to them. Is all. And putting those up. So if you're in Cavassiers and you requested a mark board or anything like that, um, or even if you didn't, possibly, you should be getting one up there in the Marks Gallery soon. I did remove it from the forums. Hope if anybody's really mad about that, let me know. I can put it back up, but it was just having to maintain it in two spots. So the current way is it's just going to be maintained on Discord. It is kind of our hub of stuff. Hub of communication is Discord, not the forums. So I think it makes sense to have it there. And then my stance has always been, if you like it, throw it in your forum signature. It's a cool way to show off your marks. But yeah, big clan updates and marks, main things I'm working on. I think that's about it to catch up, unless some stuff is slipping my mind. Manny already talked about Guild Wars a bit, which I always like to plug. So yeah, anybody else have anything they want to talk about?
That was a mouthful.
Yeah, it sure was.
Yeah,
Look,
it is.
if I get to coup the coup master every couple of months and become Jarl, I'm all in on this.
Well, then prepare to be cooed in return.
yeah, a vicious cycle of coups.
It's true. It's true. It kind of reminds me of the Ouroboros, the snake eating its own tail sort of deal.
Oh, yeah.
It's just a cycle.
We can all get good practice here.
Yeah. But yeah. Hopefully, I didn't bore anybody here or watching this stream with my big rant. As you can maybe tell, I'm really excited about these updates to the handbook. I think it's good stuff, and I hope and I believe it's going to help the clan and help a lot of people out. So I'm definitely excited about it.
You'll let the officers see it see the finished document before it releases, right? Because I'd like to familiarize myself before we go through with the whole change.
Absolutely, yeah. So I haven't brought it up on the all thing yet because I don't really want to throw something half finished in there. Basically, I want to do everything I can to complete this stuff and basically just have a new handbook draft ready to go, and then post that in the all thing for everyone to look at, critique, request changes, that kind of stuff. But yeah, I'm definitely going to do that, and it isn't going to be something where I throw it in and then it rolls out the next day. I'll give people a chance to definitely a chance to look through everything, talk about it, and we'll go through all that stuff for sure.
Cool. Because don't get me wrong, like I was listening, but I am very tired. Had a long day, and it was going into one ear, right out the other.
I totally get it, totally get it. Yeah, and I think half the reason I did it is just in case somebody wants to go back and watch the VOD and they're curious about a specific thing or whatever. But yeah.
Or if you're Numenor.
Hi, Num Nums.
Hi, Numenor.
But yeah, I'm excited. I'm definitely excited about it.
Cool.
Well, did anybody have anything else they did want to go over?
I don't think I have anything this week.
World of Warships nights have been seeing some good attendance. If you know anyone who wants to join or get started, we have a couple low tier people getting trained up. So, now's the time to join in, get your feet wet, and see if you like it. Pick a nation, pick a class or ship. Really, it's a lot of fun. I mean, we do super division drops too. So even if we have an odd number of people, we can't fit, even team, an even team of three. Say we have 5 people, we'll just try to sync drop, and we try to make sure everyone gets in that way. And it's it's a blast. We've been tearing it up this last week here. I can't even tell you. So yeah, just throwing that out there. Shameless plug. What can I say?
Hey, totally fine. Hey, Manny went on for quite a bit about Guild Wars, so hey, take your
Well,
time.
I'll try to keep it shorter than his then.
Well, I have a tough time. I'm certainly biased as a Guild Wars 2 player. I know I have a problem hearing about it, but you never know when you're talking about a game and other people have never played it, how boring or nonsensical it sounds when you played it. You're like, do they have any idea what I'm talking about? I know. Once or twice I posted Guild Wars 2 chat, we've had a lot of new players come up to play us, so it's so cool. But I'm always curious if I post some like, hey, can you guys do your dailies? We're going to run through some fractals to get our PvP reward potions and our Orichalcum imbued inscriptions or something, and people are like, I don't know what any of those words mean. So. But yeah, cool. Well, one thing, I can't remember. Somebody mentioned this to me, and I can't remember who it was. But my thinking is, with everyone being in a warband, if you're not in a warband, like the Jarls would have their choice of warbands in their great company, rather than me trying to force anybody into a particular one.
Oh, and Vest, that reminds me. You said that Jarls could still technically lead a warband if they wanted, right?
Yeah, so it would basically, my thinking is it's up to the Jarl. Whenever a particular Herseer, it's their time to be the Jarl. It's their choice if they want to just stay as. Because basically, how it's going to work is you'll hold the rank of Jarl at the same time as you holding another rank. So if you want to continue leading your warband at the same time as you being Jarl, you'd be both a Herseer and a Jarl. As far as Discord roles work, your rank will be considered Jarl, but you'll just also be in charge of leading your warband if you want. Or let's say you become Jarl and you say, hey, I don't have time to do both of these. I want my Thane to be the acting leader of the warband. Fine. In that case, you could just have them do all the stuff for it. Or alternatively, anytime you become a Jarl, you're free to step down to any rank down to Berserker if you want to take a break or whatever. that's also an option. But it would be up to each Herseer when it's their time to become Jarl, because it is a couple of added duties to be a Jarl, so it is sort of up to them, if they feel like it's too much. I'm endeavoring to make it so being Jarl is not a ton of paperwork or anything like that, so hopefully people who enjoy leading their warbands will feel like they totally can do that while being a Jarl at the same time, without it being too much of an overload. I don't know. Does that provide an answer?
Yeah, I just thought you threw it out last time, and I can't remember if you hit on it this time, because I think that's pretty important for people who maybe want to step up in leadership, but really like, are attached to their warband. Um, somebody like Ricky, who's been with Molniers for a while and like wants to step up and, hey, I still want to work on my warband system and talk to those guys and interact with them. They don't have to delegate unless they want to. you know um, I just think that's something that people are hesitant about, where, oh, I don't want anything to do with leadership, or, oh, I want leadership, but now I have to give up my crew, give up the boys, so to speak. So um, I don't know. I thought it was worthy just to let people know that you can kind of mishmash however you feel best.
Absolutely, yeah. I feel this is another thing where it's just a big improvement, because a lot of things I was seeing where Khan became a Herseer, and then it's kind of like, well, what about Hells? Raud becomes a Jarl. What about Friggs? So it's sort of it seems unfair in the way it's worked up till now, that you work so hard in a warband and your reward is kind of graduation. You're sort of forced out of it, and of course we've kind of been sort of saying, oh well, Khan, still has the Hell's role. Even, for example, Pato, Eldholm is the Huskarl of Unsfavored, but we're not kicking Pato out of Unsfavored, really. But it is kind of that gray area. It has been up till now, where it's like, especially once you hit Jarl, it's like, well, you're out of a warband now. So in the new system, everyone in WA except me will be in a warband, and even when you are Jarl, you'll always still be in your home warband, unless you really want to transfer to a different one. Of course, you can always transfer, but yes, no one's going to be kicked out of their warband at all, no matter what. Even if you say, hey, I can't be Jarl and lead my warband, well, that's fine. You'll just have to get, another officer in your warband to fill in as leader of warband while you're Jarl. Or even like I said, the purpose of the Thanes is to cover for warbands that need help. Conceivably, Thanes from other warbands can help you with some of the warband duties, all that kind of stuff. Hopefully, all the machinery is there to make sure that everyone can stick with their warband, and all the warbands can get all the warband duties done without any trouble, and that all the duties are also laid out very clearly, so everyone knows what needs to be done, so they don't have to worry about, oh, did I do everything I need to? I'm not even sure. That definitely should not be a problem in this new system.
A lot of the issues that we have stem from us not having enough staff to fill all the roles anyways.
Yeah, and
I don't think a lot of this would be necessary if we had more people to cover positions.
yeah, I think very true, and the idea as well is that if necessary, certainly I can help out. The Jarls can help out with individual warbands in their great company. Of course, my plan is I will be helping the warbands under me where they do need it. So hopefully, yeah, there should be even a little bit more help there. And if you're in a position where you just don't have time to complete your duties, and we as the rest of the chain of command aren't able to find Thanes or people to help you out with that, and you're still not getting it done, and you just need, yeah, the idea is that there's always the methods to get the help you need there, but certainly I don't want to be completely rigid insofar as if you have like personal stuff you need to take an LOA or whatever. There's certainly that's an option, and yeah, my goal is for the duties to be completed rather than my goal being to demote everybody or something. So yeah.
You um this is no longer a Dane era. We don't demote everybody.
Yeah, we can always get more recruits.
Yeah, I mean, I don't wanna fool anybody. I mean, the duties are laid out and the rec requirements are going to be there. So if people don't do them, yeah, we will have to demote people. But at the same time, yeah, my hope is that this new system will provide a way for, say, you have a warband that just has people on LOA, or for whatever reason the duties aren't getting completed. There is a way we have people that can step in and help out. Hopefully. And like I kind of said earlier, I really don't think the way I've got it all laid out with the warband duties that the requirements that it's a lot of work that has to be done. For the most part, it's just a couple things that have to be maintained, like a roster, and once a month, yeah, you got to review everybody for promotions and demotions and write your report once a month. I feel like that should take like an hour. And as well, if you have a very large warband, I'm setting a 10-member minimum for any warband that is in a great company, and that is 10 members as well. There's like new activity requirements, stuff like that. This stuff is all in the monolith. I don't want to go on a huge rant again, but yeah, the idea being, shoot, I got sidetracked. What were we talking about? Sorry, my brain completely trailed off
Like
there.
duties are listed.
Yeah, duties are there, and yeah, oh yeah. So I was saying it shouldn't be too much, and a lot of the focus that I'm changing is a lot of the past I've been pushing things like, hey, get some stories for a warband, get traditions going, build a culture, and I think I'm feeling like that wasn't the right thing for me to call for. I think some warbands have done an awesome job writing some of that stuff, but it doesn't make sense to require that, I think, and I mean, my apologies, because I know some people have brought this up in the past, and I kind of said, no, I think we can do it, and I think it's not the way to go. So the shift is really just saying, let's just have people be active. Let's just be playing games together and talking about them. That's all we're trying to do, is just have the activity. So hopefully with that, like I said, the responsibilities of warband leaders and jarls will not be a ton of busy work that they have to be, and paperwork they have to be churning out all the time. It should really just be this once a month kind of deal, um, and that you just have to sit down sometime towards the end of the month, and get that done. And that will basically be it. There are some other duties listed that are mostly stuff like talking to new recruits and stuff like that, which to me just kind of falls in line with just gaming with people in the clan, basically. Just hitting them up with a ping or whatever. Welcome to the warband stuff. A lot of stuff that's already been happening. So yeah, I mean, my hope is that people shouldn't have a hard time completing all this stuff on time. I think it's pretty reasonable, and a lot of it is me trying to make sure that I'm not asking a bunch of stupid stuff at people or throwing busy work at people, and making it very clear cut what has to get done and when, and that's all you got to do basically, and trying to make it easier on everybody, myself included too, because I mean I'll be double checking the warbands under me for all this stuff too. So hopefully, yeah, it should just work a lot better all around. Oh, and I was mentioning, yeah, so if you're in a great company, a warband under a great company, there is a 10-member minimum, and there is a recommendation that you have 20 or fewer. I didn't make this a hard max, so if your warband's more than 20, don't feel like we're going to instantly tear it apart. But the idea is that if you are above 20, myself and the Jarls should be looking at, and the leader of the warband as well, should be looking at, can we potentially split this into two? Because with a minimum of 10 and a recommended max of 20, well, if you're above 20, you should be able to split it into two warbands that are above 10, in theory. And this is 10 also highly active members, and highly active is defined above as just some activity with regards to text chat, playing games with people in the warband, that kind of stuff. So basically, and yeah, there's some percentage requirements in there as well. 75% of the members have to fit that highly active description. And part of this too will be in updated rank requirements, where to have a certain rank you have to there'll be certain activity requirements to hold the rank of warrior and whatnot. So it isn't going to be. I mean, with roll calls only once a month, the expectation will be that people just don't miss roll calls essentially, unless they're an LOA or whatever. Because you have 31 days to copy paste some information in 2 seconds. So it should be pretty easy to post a roll call. So the expectation will be that most members will be active playing games, and a lot of the fact that it's 75%, not 100%, should allow for people who want to hang out in a warband and don't necessarily play its games, but they're still active. There's certainly some wiggle room in that regard. But yeah, 10 and then a max of 20, and then of course the requirements for a great company under me are less stringent. A lot of them are halved, whereas, for example, the activity requirement, instead of having to talk in your warband chat on a weekly basis, it's talk there once every 2 weeks. So the idea is that there will be less stringent requirements, and as well, if you are a warband in a great company and you're not meeting those requirements, there is time to adjust. You're not instantly kicked or something. Basically, the rule I have here is if you miss this stuff for 2 months in a row or 3 months in a half-year period, then you're going to be moved out of a great company and directly under me. And then if you are under me, and same deal, you missed it, expectations for being under me for 2 months in a row or 3 times in a half-year period, then the warband gets closed. So if you're sitting right now and you're saying, "Oh my," let's say you have a warband and nobody's in it, you're missing all the requirements. Oh man, it's a disaster. Well, it's impossible for your warband to be closed for you have a good 4 month period um, to fix stuff. So hopefully it shouldn't be something where things happen to go wrong and then boom, your warband's gone or anything like that. But all this stuff is here to try to make sure that we do have active warbands. Because, like I said, I'm throwing out a lot of stuff about making codex entries and stuff because part of that is because your warband report that you write, your little sit rep for your warband once a month, gets posted in your warband codex. So there's your monthly codex post that I used to ask for anyway. So who cares? If you want to throw extra stuff in there, awesome. I love it. But yeah, the big focus is just making sure the warbands are composed of active people, and as well with a lot of these activity requirements, it isn't necessarily like you have to, I mean, you should be trying to get everyone in your warband to be active, but if people are inactive, I mean, they can be demoted to guest, and that would, if you're trying to get the 75% activity requirement. So it's not like you're doomed because you're like, oh, I have so many inactives in my warband, I'm doomed. It's like, well, if they're completely inactive, they probably should just be guests anyway. And so, I mean, it shouldn't be. I think it shouldn't be unreasonable at least. And yeah, sorry, I launched on another huge rant there. My bad. But anybody have any other questions? It's kind of sounding like no. Well, yeah. I'm not expecting anybody to have memorized anything, but I did want to just take the time to talk about some of it at least. And then, of course, it's not completely out of left field yet. But yeah, I will be bringing this stuff up in the all thing as well. And when the changes are made, this is a suggestion that was made to me too. That I'll be doing this with all handbook updates, where I'll just make a bullet list of all major changes. The only things I probably wouldn't list there would be like, oh, there's a new Earl of a family, and the handbook still lists the old Earl. We got to change the name there. I probably wouldn't put that as a bullet point because that's just housekeeping, update, that kind of stuff. But if there's rule changes, additions, stuff like that, I'll list that anytime I make a handbook update. In announcements, when I announce handbook update, here's a bullet point list of the changes. So when this new stuff comes out, I'll go in and make a post, of course, and be listing everything as much as I can, just a summary. A lot of this stuff is stuff that to know people will have to go and read the handbook and look at the thread and the monolith to see the specific requirements, but it kind of goes without saying. All right. Well, anybody think of anything else? Brief minute before we kind of sign off here. I do want to apologize again that Fireside Chat is so late today, unfortunately. But at least we got one here, and then hopefully, if I know, of course, for our buddies in our British Standard Time, it definitely stinks the time we've got. But hopefully, the VOD is available for you. And of course, I always want to emphasize that I always am happy to get DMs or pings from anybody about anything. If you and don't worry about waking me up or whatever, because I have Discord pings set to not vibrate my phone, so you won't wake me up. But I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Anybody have anything else before we sign off?
Nope.
I think we're good.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for showing up, and thanks anyone watching live or watching the VOD. We will be back next Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific. So see everybody then.